garden from Sustainable Nantucket. My name is Callan. I'm the Farm to School manager, and I'm going to be your remote garden teacher this summer. I'm so excited. Although our program looks a little different this summer, I have great confidence that we'll have lots of fun, even if it's from a distance. Every week you'll come and visit the garden after you listen to lessons from me through video, and every week we'll get a chance to chat through Zoom. It's going to be a little different than last year, but you're probably used to things being a little different lately. This week we're going to focus mostly on the rules of the garden. If you visited the garden before, the rules are very similar, although a few things have changed. Let's look at the list first, and then we'll take a little tour. So we call them garden guidelines because they're things we ask of you if you want to be in the garden. The first rule or guideline is ask before harvesting. Harvest is just the gardening word for picking. So ask before you pick anything. You're asking an adult, and you're also asking the plant. Many people believe that before you pick the plant, you can feel it telling you yes or no. If it gives some resistance, it's saying, no thanks, I'm not ready to be picked. Number 2, walk, don't run. There's so many cool things to see in the garden. Sometimes we see little creatures like bunnies. But no matter what, please walk. That's for your safety, for the safety of the plants, and for the safety of the other people in the garden. There's tools that you could possibly trip over, corners that you could run into, and plants that you could accidentally step on if you run. So when we walk, it's for our safety, and it's also so we just have a slower, calmer pace in the garden. Number 3 says stay on the grass. Don't step in the beds or on plants. We're going to take a little tour after going through these guidelines, and I'll show you what that means. Just like us, plants have beds that they rest in, and if we step on them, we make it harder for them to grow. So we're going to avoid that and stay on the grass or where our counselors tell us to go. The last rule, number 4, be an ally. An ally is a fancy word for friend. In the garden, we're friends to all the creatures we see, like the bugs and little animals. And what that means is we let them be. Sometimes if a grown-up lets us pick them up and hold them carefully in our hands, we do that. But we always put them back where we found them, and we certainly don't mistreat them. But I don't think you guys would do that. Being an ally also means being an ally to our friends. So all creatures, big or small, we're going to be kind to. If there's 4 shovels and 5 children, we understand that sharing is part of being an ally, right? Maybe I take a turn for a little bit and then you take a turn, or maybe I do something else for the moment, right? We really think about our friends and how they'd like to feel in the garden. And then the last rule is have fun. If we do all of these things and we're mindful of all the creatures in the garden, including our friends and our counselors, we'll have a great time in the garden. Let's take a little tour. Remember our first rule? Ask before harvesting? I know that this is mint, and I love to chew on mint when I'm in the garden. You guys might be harvesting things and taking them home, but still, you'll have an opportunity to pick. But I've already asked my counselor, and they said yes. Now I'm going to ask the plant. How do I do this? Well, first of all, we practice two-handed harvesting, which I can't show you right now because I'm holding the phone, but I will show you that. And then I ask the plant if I can pick from it. If the plant says yes, the leaf should pop off. Nice and easy. If the plant says no, it's a little harder to pick, and I leave it. Another rule we have in the garden is to stay on the grass, to not walk in the beds. You can see where the grass is and how it makes paths throughout the garden. The beds are these big square things where the plants live. We don't step in there because if we did, we could damage the plants, and then we also compress the soil, which means we push it down so the plants can't get the air they need or the water they need to survive. Pretty interesting, huh? Another bed that we have in the garden that looks a little different than these square beds is the hugelkultur bed. Hugelkultur, that is a fun word to say. It's kind of like the word Google, but with an H and then culture. So hugelkultur. A hugelkultur bed is a bed that's decomposing as well as providing a place for plants to live. So it's super warm inside the bed. And there's all sorts of plants growing here. We have our kale going to seed, we have cantaloupe, and we have pumpkins. And even though it doesn't have a barrier around it, we're not going to step on it, right? We're not going to step in the bed. This is also another bed. Back here in the back, it's a little tighter. I've got the Three Sisters garden. There's one big mound there and another mound over there. You can see the tall corn sticking up, and we'll talk a little bit more about this at some point. There's not a lot of room to move, just a tiny little path right along the edge, and then the bricks if you're super careful. I'm going to leave this up to your counselors to decide when you can go back there, but we're certainly not going to step in there where the plants are. Same goes for back in the back. You can see the tall sunflowers at the very back. We're not going to step in there. I'm going to show you one other place that could be tempting to step in because it doesn't have barrier around it like the other beds. And these are our watermelon mounds. Isn't that exciting? All of these plants are going to be red watermelons, and we have some yellow ones too. But we're not going to step on these mounds. And we're going to be super careful to not step on the vines of the watermelon. They really like to stretch out. So part of the reason we say to walk and not run in the garden is so that we can take the time to be careful and not do any damage to the plants. The last rule of the garden is be an ally. So I found this roly-poly, which I like. And if you don't like bugs, you don't have to hold them. But I love roly-polies. I think they're so cool. So I'm letting it climb all over my hand. And then after a little bit, I'm going to put it back because I know that even though I'm enjoying it and being kind to it, it really wants to be in the compost bin where I found it. So that's our rule about insects. We hold them for under a minute and then we say, thank you so much for visiting. Thank you for letting me play with you. And we put them back in. Go on. So there it is, back in the garden. Being an ally too means being kind to our fellow campers and listening to our counselors. Our last rule, what was it? The last rule in the garden is have fun. I don't think I need to tell you how to do that. If you follow all of these rules, all of these guidelines, I'm sure you'll have a great time in the garden. Eating the alphabet. Fruits and vegetables from A to Z by Lois Elhert. Look at all these beautiful, beautiful illustrations. Eating the alphabet. Let's see how you eat an alphabet. Apple to zucchini, come take a look. Start eating your way through this alphabet book. A, artichoke, apricots, avocado, asparagus, and apple. B is for blueberry and beans and beet and Brussels sprouts. B is for broccoli and banana. C is for currant and cucumber and celery and corn. We have some of these C vegetables in our garden. C is also for carrot and cherry and cabbage and cauliflower. D is for dates. E is for endive. It's a kind of lettuce-like vegetable. E is for eggplant. F is for fig. F is also the first letter in fruit, isn't it? G is for gooseberry and for grapefruit. G is also for grapes. H is for huckleberries. I is for Indian corn. J is for jalapeno and jicama. K is for kumquat. That's a fun word, isn't it? Kumquat, that's the little orange fruits. For kiwi fruit and kohlrabi. Kohlrabi is this vegetable right there. L is for lemon and leek. And you probably know this one, lettuce and lime. M is for melon and mango. N is for nectarine. O is for okra, orange, and onion. P is for peach and pineapple and pear. It's also for persimmon, papaya, pomegranate, and plum. There's a lot of P words in the garden, isn't there? More P words. P is for parsnip and potatoes and peas and peppers and pumpkin. Q is for quince. That's a kind of fruit. R is for raspberries and radishes and rutabaga. R is for rhubarb and radicchio. S is for Swiss chard, spinach, and starfruit, and strawberries. T is for tangerine and turnip, and tomatoes. U is for ugly fruit. Did you know there was a fruit called ugly fruit? V is for vegetable marrow. W is for, what's this? Watermelon. And for watercress. X is for xiguia. Y is for yam, and Z is for zucchini. To learn more about the fruits and vegetables in this book, turn the page. You'll get a chance with your counselors to read this book again here in the garden. And when you do that, you can read up on all the information about the different fruits and vegetables. Thanks for joining me with Eating the Alphabet. Well, that's it for me. I hope you have a wonderful time in the garden. And if you have any questions, please ask your counselors to contact me. They have all of my information, so they can ask me any questions that you have.